afternoon. Welcome and thank you for coming. We're so pleased to have you here at this beautiful Hilltop Event Center. I want to give a little pitch. We are booking for holiday parties now. If you're a LOTSAR member, you get 50% off of your rental. And yes, it's a very good deal. We've got some flyers over next to the water pitcher there. If you book your 2024 events and pay for them before the first of the year, we will honor 2023 prices. 2024 is going up slightly, but it's still a great deal for LOTSAR members at 50% off. So please reach out to me or grab a flyer and give us a call. We'd love to have your holiday event. Doesn't have to be real estate related. Tommy Sejo is having his daughter's quinceañera here in December, and we've had all sorts of parties and events and things. This wall goes away. We can seat up to 180 at banquet tables. We can do classrooms for 30 people. We can do 125 for classroom style. We can do 250 for lecture style. So please think about us when you decide to book an event. We are so pleased that Home Trust has sponsored our lunch here from Black Bear Barbecue. So thank you to Jill Queen. Thank you, Jill. She's going to say a word or two about Home Trust and what they can offer to us.
Hi, Jill. I'm Jill Queen. I'm a mortgage lender with Home Trust. I've been there for 13 years now, and I'm glad to be here with y'all today, and I hope you enjoy the lunch. Since they're talking about septic later, I thought I would let y'all know about some of our construction loan options. So construction loans are getting harder and harder to find these days, so we are still lending on new construction builds. So we have a really great program with that. We can do a one-time closing of the purchase of the land with the construction. If someone buys their land with cash with you, we can use that as their down payment for the construction loan if they need some more time to get their plans together. And we also do renovation loans. So if someone needs to do some improvements to their home, if it's less than $50,000 for the cost of renovations, we don't require a general contractor, which is a really nice bonus with that. So if you come across someone that may need one of those loans, we'd love to help them. We can do all the other kinds too, but I thought I'd focus on that today. Does anybody have any questions?
We've got cards up front for Jill, I think, at the front door.
We do.
Yep. So grab a card on your way out, and thank you again for lunch.
Yeah.
Thank you. And now I would like to welcome Jessica Silver, who is going to educate us all. I don't know what REHS stands for, but
Registered Environmental Health Specialist.
Registered Environmental Health Specialist. Nice. Awesome. Thank you, Jessica.
Thank you.
Hey, Shop, keep inviting me back. Like, dang, right? Yeah. So I have some exciting things to share with you all today. And as always, as I go through, if you have questions, feel free to just stop me at any point and ask away. I'd rather try to address them as I go versus trying to catch up at the end of things. Okay. In the past, I've presented to you all on how to find septic permits online. And since I presented to you all and gone to some specific real estate agencies, I think I'm getting fewer requests for assistance. I think that's great. But remember, you can always reach out to me if you have difficulty finding a particular septic permit. So I'm just going to put that out in the atmosphere for all the world to know. If you need something immediately, it is better for you to call me than to send me an email, because I'm usually a little delayed in getting to my email searches. So if it's something that you have to have like right now and you have exhausted all the searching skills that I taught, or you just have questions on how to search a little bit better, reach out to me and I'm happy to talk you through it. And if you need like one-on-one assistance, you and us, whoever it is, you and your team, we can meet either in person or virtually. I'm happy to do whatever I can to help ease the stress of trying to find septic permits. Okay, so with that disclaimer out, I have some super duper exciting news for you. However, I'm gonna save it to the very end. in a little bit of pizzazz, right? Gotta give you some pizzazz. And plus, you know, who's gonna pay attention when you've got that nice plate of food in front of you, really? So I am here to talk about all things related to septic systems today. In Buncombe County, the majority of our homes are on a septic system. You all probably guessed that, right? You know that from what you do every day. If you are within a municipality, like the city of Asheville or in Asheville's ETJ, you likely are on MSP, right? When I bought my house, I specifically said, I don't want a septic system. It's interesting since I'm over the department for septic systems, right? I do have a home where I'm from that's on the septic system, and I can tell you how poorly I am at maintaining that system. So this is going to be a thing is do as I say, not as I do kind of thing. You know how we do with our kids all the time. So some exciting things that we're going to cover today. First of all, we are getting brand new rules for the on-site wastewater system. Section of the environmental health program. So I'll go over a few of those. I'm going to share some private permitting options that exist currently and talk to you a little bit about how clients and customers can access those types of permits and the differences between the private option and coming through the local health department through environmental health. I'll share some stuff with you on some information with you on existing systems and how those systems are going to be changing. Those site evaluations are going to be changing based off of the new rules. And I'll go over some repair information for you for when septic systems fail. And at the end, I have a little bit of pizzazz for you. So any questions about the purpose or my intention for today? Okay, cool. So we'll move on in. Y'all, the on-site wastewater rules have not changed since 1977. I have been in public health for 19 years. For the 19 full years of my career, I have heard we are getting new rules in on-site wastewater. And I'm not exaggerating. I really wish I was exaggerating. There are people in the environmental health section at Raleigh who have spent their entire careers trying to get new rules passed. So what took so long? The new rules are going to be effective January 1st, 2024. So 2 months from now, we will be rolling it out nice, hard and fast and learning a lot along the way. So what did take so long with the new rules processing? There was a lot of back and forth between the Home Builders Association, the Septic Tank Association of North Carolina, our legislators, county folks, other industries, well contractors got involved. It was a lot of negotiating and compromise. What happens when you compromise, though? Does anybody really, really win? You just agree to what is mostly agreeable, right? Just to be able to get something that you want out of it. So I will start this by saying, we have, these are the new rules, right? Like 89 some pages, something like that. We went from like a 30-page document. Well, right, of course, because why not? Because it makes sense, because we're government, right? So these are the new rules that are going to be effective January 1st, 2024. There is a link, and I have given Brian the link that you see here on the screen. So these are the new rules. This old handy dandy tricky thing is the new rules already with proposed changes that need to go before the legislature to approve. Yay. It just doesn't get any better than that. Like it could not go any other way in North Carolina than to have the new rules and a copy of what needs to change already in the new rules. So I'm putting that out there to say, we know it's not perfect. It is better than what we have had since 1977. You know, like as all things technology has improved, our rules just never were able to catch up. The rulemaking process is long and drawn out, even without a lot of public comment or without a lot of industry input. And so we'll see how long it takes to get these revisions to these new rules. Like it could be another 19 years, likely. Who knows? Likely, right? So just putting that out in the atmosphere to help say that nothing is going to be the only constant thing is change, right? So with that, any questions about the whole premise behind the rule change or anything like that? Yes.
Jessica, will this apply to every county, these new rules?
This applies absolutely to every single county. The state of North Carolina's section of environmental health has gone on a statewide quote unquote tour to educate all environmental health specialists or health inspectors, whatever you want to, however you prefer to call us, right? On these new rules. And so, yes, it does. It will be the law of the land starting January 1st, 2024. Okay. That's a great question.
Can I send them over to Rutherford County at a time?
Could you what? Lord, you almost made a choke. Anybody in here know how to do the hop? So what I will say is I was around in 2012. In 2012, our food code, we adopted the food code in North Carolina. North Carolina was one of the last states to adopt the food code. That was a huge learning curve. Like I remember hearing colleagues say, I was not in Buncombe, so let me put that out in the atmosphere so y'all don't think what Shannon could have been. I was not in Buncombe at this time, but there were colleagues who said, well, we're not gonna do the food code. Right, we're gonna continue looking at those dumpster pads because we know those are important versus we're gonna take temperatures of food that will actually make people sick. Like, so there's a little bit of resistance, I think, with change. It's just human nature, right? But what I will say is you all have, and our customers, our client base, those that we serve, we have the right to ask questions, be informed. Do I expect you to know these rules better than our inspectors? No. I would like for you to know where to find the rules. And Control F is your friend when you're looking at a PDF document and you want to search for a specific word. Anyway, so that's just my 2 cents. Know where to find the rules and know where to ask questions. And know also, not only do you have the right to be informed, but you also have the right to complain if you feel like something is not quite right. And so counties have different avenues for you to complain. In Buncombe, you are always welcome to call me, email me. We also have a whistleblower line if you want to make a complaint that way. Some people go straight to the county commissioners, and that's fine. Just know that it's all going to end back at my email. So, and that's fine. But there's also another avenue at the state level. Each county has what's called a regional environmental health specialist, and that person is over how we do our jobs within the county. And I could talk a little bit more about that if you have more questions, but our regional information, you can back out of those rules at ehs.dph.ncdhhs.gov, and you can see all of the regional staff for whatever county you're looking for. Out west, I believe we all have the same Karen Wallace. Some of you may be familiar with her. But anyway, she can come in and investigate any complaints too. So it's a great question though. Okay, so let's talk about private permitting options and how this all came along. So y'all remember good old COVID, right? Yeah, we all kind of remember that heartache and that headache and all of those hours worked, regardless of whatever field you were in. These private permitting options really started before COVID, but they kicked into high gear during COVID. If you remember, during COVID, our office was 12 weeks behind. From the time someone applied for a permit until we were able to make the first visit. That does not mean you got a permit at that first visit. That's a long time. People complained. I understand that our office and all counties across the state were just inundated with failing septic systems. Why do you think that is? Everybody was home. Everybody was home. Everybody was using more water. You don't realize how much water you use until you're at home all the time. People, just basically overuse and abuse their systems. And so we're going to talk about repairs a little bit later. But in response to that, we have these private permitting options, and they are either leave the health department out. What I mean by that is we are always going to be the agency responsible for holding onto the documents, but we don't have to be the agency that's doing the work. So I'm going to go over some of these options for folks. I think you'll also get a copy of these slides as well. So don't feel like you have to absorb all of it right now, right? The first one I want to talk about is the EOP. It's the Engineered Option Permit. For each of these, I'll tell you who the professional is, or the agency involved. I'll tell you our responsibility as the local health department. I'll tell you the turnaround time that is mandated by the state, and I will tell you whether or not we make a visit to that property, because each of these has, different requirements for us, okay? So first off, engineered option permit, you need an engineer. Gold star if you thought this was. You need a professional engineer to design the system and to submit the plans. With the local, you can either have an engineer or soil scientist do your soils work. And then the engineer or soil scientist will give you their report, and you being the property owner would submit that report to us with a request for completeness review. Now, I used to teach school, and I would give, let's say if I gave 10 math problems at night, I never gave 10 because that just seemed unfair. I would give 5, honestly, 5, 1 from each type of problem that we have worked on. And I would always give two grades, 1 for completeness, like did you complete it, and then 1 for accuracy, because not everybody had help. So what do you think a completeness review is on our end when we look at that paperwork?
Sure, it's all there.
Making sure it's all there. That's all it is. If you have checked off the boxes, if your engineer or LSS has checked all the boxes, filled in all the blanks, we mark it complete. And then they're going to submit what's called a notice of intent. Okay, so I didn't include everything. We'll get the notice of intent. That means we are going to go ahead and have this system installed. And then the ATO will review the ATO. ATO stands for, oh goodness, I just lost it. I wrote it up here. It stands for authorization to operate. That means the system is already in. You also know it as an operations permit. So in the case of an EOP, you will not have an operations permit that you're going to be able to search for online. What you're going to search for is that ATO. Our turnaround time is 5 business days for all of these now. The timeline just changed in October. We will not make a visit, but we attend a post-construction conference with the engineer. We don't certify that it was installed correctly. That's not what we are there for. We come back to the office or we stay in our office because the engineer can request to waive the post-construction conference. Well, they can say we want to waive it, not request it, because to request something sounds like we have the option to deny the request. We don't, okay? Put that out in the atmosphere. So questions about the EOP? I think what will be helpful, I'll also send a link to our little cheat guide that tells, goes into a little bit more detail about what parts of the application are required from your customer's viewpoint, if they're gonna go this route. The fees for all of these, for EOP and AOWE, they are now $35 that will be paid to the local health department. This does not include whatever you have to pay the professional, whatever the engineer's fees or licensed soil scientist fees are, okay? Next, you have an AOWE, authorized on-site wastewater evaluator. That's another option that people can use, and they'll use an AOWE who can be a septic contractor who has gone through a training to become certified as an authorized on-site wastewater evaluator, or you can use a licensed soil scientist. Say it again.
I don't think I've ever used one of those.
Yeah.
Always soil scientist.
Yeah, soil scientists, I would think, or those, the bottom two, the session laws, they are the most common ones that we see in our office. And I think they're starting to slow down as well. I think interest rates are really causing people, I don't have to tell y'all, I'm talking to the choir. I'm preaching to the choir. You all know interest rates have a direct impact on whether people are looking at purchasing new properties or not. Yeah.
Is there a list of the authorized on-site wastewater evaluators?
No, not that I'm aware of. I've not found one. I'll search for it and I'll put it in an email to Brian.
Who authorizes them?
The state does. There's a certification board.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know there's a list for septic, licensed septic contractors per county, and it has the level 1, 2, 3, 4, but that's different than.
That is different. Yep, that is different. Great questions. Like the EOP, we'll do the completeness review. We will go out to look at we will approve the authorization to operate, and we will archive the documents. We do not have the legal authority to step foot on the property. We don't make any site visits. We are not allowed. We are not allowed to question the AOWE, the engineer, or the LSS's soils work. That's important. That's important. That's what I'll say. That's important. Any questions about AOWE? Now, one thing that I didn't mention that these new rules are doing, these were piecemealed, like the legislature would pass session law 2020 whatever, and it would be one of these private options. These are actually in the rules, in the new 18E rules. They're no longer going to be this one-off statute or this one-off rule about private permitting. They are built into our rules now. So then you have excuse me, you have a combination option where you can use the local health department or along with, that's the way to say it, with an LSS. The LSS does all the soils work. The LSS gives the completeness review. and we issue the improvement permit. But again, we don't make a visit to the site. We have to do that based off of what the licensed soil scientist has given us. And they do give the drawing, they do say the setbacks, they do say where the system has to go. We just have to transfer that to our paperwork. Right, that's for the improvement permit. And then the same thing for the session law. We do make a final visit, excuse me, we do issue an operations permit at the very end. So we do actually see that system go in the ground. That confuse everybody thoroughly. Like if I didn't have this, I wouldn't be able to explain it. We actually made this for our front office to kind of help make it a little bit clearer than mud. I mean, it's not that clear, but it's a little bit better. Y'all have questions about it, about the process? So why would somebody want to do this, go this route? That's if you were thinking it, or if you were thinking it, I've always thought it. I think there are some pros and cons. You go this route if you can get on an engineer or an LSS's schedule quicker than you can our schedule. Right now, we're about 3 weeks out for making our first site visit after we receive an application. Talking to colleagues in other counties, there have been instances that the state is aware of where the county has turned down a site for a septic system. They have gotten approval, systems are in the ground, and they are failing. I know that's not good, right? So I see by coming to the county, one of the pros of coming to the county is, first of all, we're not going to be as expensive as one of the professional folks that you could go to, whether engineer or an LSS or an AOWE. We don't have a dog in the fight, like you can't grease our hands to get us to approve soil that was crappy before man was here. And I'm not saying that's what happens, but it is only speculation about why those lots that have been turned down are now able to be approved. It's a little scary. Incidentally, when these things fail, guess where people go? Anybody want to guess? They gonna come to us because they didn't write us in. They didn't write in, if your system fails, you need to go back to that professional engineer or the LSS or the AOWE. They didn't write that in that way. So I believe, and this is just Jessica Silver's opinion, not based in fact, and I will be retired by then.
Disclaimer.
Right, exactly. I believe what's going to happen is 5 to 10 years from now, well, I should be here in 5 years. Okay, we're gonna say 10 to 15 years from now. I think we'll be able to see the trend where we can pull our reports of denied lots and look at lots that were approved that are now failing and see how they were evaluated. Like sometimes people can change their site specifications. For example, they can say, well, we don't want a 5-bedroom. Maybe we denied it because maybe we denied it because they only wanted a 5-bedroom. And we said, no, we can only get you a 3. And the engineer can design a system that we're not able to design at our level. And that system can work for, I'm not gonna say forever, but that system could work for a 5-bedroom. But maybe, I don't know. I'm just, it's gonna be very interesting to see what happens years from now. If we notice high failures in this. We don't have, we're like a third, I see us as a third party. There's nothing that we're gaining from like the private permitting options may be gaining. I don't know, we're not gonna go out of business, hopefully not, we're gonna be there And I don't know, I just have all kinds of feelings around it. And I'm trying to separate like my personal feelings from, okay, this is good. In a lot of ways, it's good because if your clients have the money to invest and can get that quick turnaround, then they can go for it. And we will hold on to those documents. That's our consent. Yeah.
So question that maybe applies to this, and I'd like to get anyone's opinion as well on this is, so what about those investors that are, or clients that are buying a piece of land, but they have no site plan? They're looking to build 5 to 10 years from now, but they want to make sure that during the due diligence, the land is perfect. Does it make sense, to go to you guys, or maybe these private auctions are better now to do something like that?
You could go to either or. It wouldn't change anything. Our permits are good for 5 years.
Right.
So like if I know that I'm not gonna build until 5 to 10 years from now, I'm not gonna build within the next 5 years, then I'm not going to apply for an improvement permit and an authorization to construct because they're only good for 5 years. I would only apply for an improvement permit just to make sure that the land is suitable for a septic system. And then in order for us to evaluate the lot for a septic system, we have to know what type of structure you may want to go there. It's going to be very different if you're building a restaurant versus a 3-bedroom single family residence.
Are there still is the list of things that would cause you all to get to site and turn around and go back the same, or has that changed at all? I've had some folks who will specifically go with soil scientists because of not having as many requirements for having the land flagged every so many feet of every single border where it's located, whereas a lot of soil scientists are able to use other means to determine that.
So the basic site conditions will not change on January 1st. There is a different list of expectations for owners, but it doesn't, what they need to do to prepare the site has not changed. Now, some counties may require something more. I know we don't. But you do have, at a minimum, have to have your property lines marked, like the 4 corners, mark where you want your house or whatever structure to go, where you want that to go. You have to have the underbrush cleared. And mark any outbuildings where you want those to go. And that's just so the inspector has a good visual picture. First of all, we want to make sure they're on the right site. Can't tell you how many times, like when I was training for on-site, and I don't do on-site, I'm very dangerous. You do not want me on anybody's site. I can auger all day long. I'm good at augering, but don't ask me to look at the soil and evaluate. I can tell you what saprolite is too. I can look at it and tell you, yep, that's saprolite. But that's the extent of, and I can ribbon clay too. You gotta ribbon it while you're out. But anyway, besides the point. I'm saying a lot of things that I can do. It makes you think that I might. Nope, not good at it. But one of the first things that our regional does when they came out to work with me was, how do you know you're on the right lot? And I'm like, I don't know. Shoot, follow the directions. I don't know. But yeah, so property lines being marked, marking where you want the proposed structure, and any outbuildings that you may have, including like driveways, swimming pools, porches, decks, whatever you're gonna have. All of that stays the same. And I don't know how a soil scientist or anybody else could do it without knowing that. Now, there are some, if you have a 30-acre tract of land, it's not gonna mean anything if you mark the 4 corners of 30 acres. And you can work with the inspector to figure out where on that property you want the inspector to actually evaluate. Any other questions about it? Sure.
I got a question about failed septic systems.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of older neighborhoods in Buncombe County that have older septic systems and they have small lots. Is there any change to creative solutions to keep the house from getting condemned if no other septic options are available?
So yes, these new rules actually make it easier to put someone on permanent pump and haul if there is not an alternative. Houses that were recorded, properties that were recorded, and I want to make sure I'm telling you right. So let me, sorry, I'm looking in the wrong set of rules. Not rules. Looking in the working copy. I want to say it was 1983. Properties that were deeded before 1983 do not require a repair area. Personally, I would not buy a property without a repair area. What I will say is in Buncombe County, our lots are getting smaller and smaller. My children call the straight up houses when we first moved here. We're from flatlands where houses are wide versus tall. And they called these houses bird houses because they're straight up, because the lots are so tiny. So I think some states are looking at additives, are actually using additives that are applied to the wastewater itself to help extend the life of the septic system. We are not there yet in North Carolina. North Carolina wants more testing and, whatever. So permanent pump and haul will be easier to do. That's you're glad?
Yeah, well, I mean,
Yeah.
it's a last resort.
Yeah.
You can't, if you got a lot that you just can't put any more drain lines in.
Mhm.
It just won't take it.
Yeah,
It was scary for homeowners to have no other solution.
right. Yeah,
And then people were talking about condemning properties.
Right.
And things like that, so that pump and haul is great. I
Yeah.
mean, just for that.
yeah. If it means that you can hold onto your house, that is 100% great. Yes.
So that pump and haul, is that just, you don't have a leach field, you just have that tank?
No,
I don't understand.
So you would have a tank and a professional pumping service would come out and pump the tank every 30 days or whatever frequency it requires to keep the effluent or the sewage from backing up in the home or surfacing on the ground. It's not an ideal situation by any means. And it will be expensive. I think I heard somebody else just say it. It will be expensive, right? Huh?
That'll sit on
I have what? Bad ears? Bad ears. Oh, maybe I have, gotcha. Okay, I told you I used to teach. Yeah.
What's the size of the test holes you all require?
So the test, when we're digging pits, you mean, or what we auger? So I've heard a lot of different things. We like to go 4 feet down, just like our auger does. I'm not sure how wide. I do know that I've seen pictures of staff in a pit evaluating the soil. I want to say it's 3 feet wide by 4 feet deep.
Rutherford's 3 by 6.
Okay. By 6?
Bunch of dead bodies.
Oh, I bet. The state of Virginia, they actually put their systems in at 6 feet. Really interesting. We don't do that in North Carolina. But they do some really neat things there. So at every table, I have put this affidavit here. So I'm going to reference that. I just put, I think, 2 copies at each table. But you're gonna get a link to this. I just wanted you to see it, just to lay your eyes on it. These new rules actually have existing system approvals as a requirement in the rule. What do we have now in our rules? Anybody want to guess? We don't have anything. But whenever people are going to change a site, change the footprint without adding additional bedrooms. So let's say you wanted to put a deck on or pour a concrete pad, add a swimming pool, add a gazebo, whatever you wanted to add on your property. It is right now, if you came into the building office to request that, well, I mean, not say right now, because right now you can do the affidavit. Prior to October of this year, people could say, well, show me in the rules where I have to have an existing systems check. And we were actually challenged on it, and we have some letters, some strongly worded letters written and attached to some septic, some pins into some building cases because people did not want the existing system check. And basically what the letter said is, it is best practice whenever you are changing the site, making any changes to a site or a structure on the site, that you get an existing systems check, just to make sure that no part of your modification is going to be on your existing system or any part of your existing septic system or over part of your repair area. Well, starting in October of this year, people can now complete the affidavit. Owners can now complete the affidavit. And this says, I take full responsibility if I'm putting this deck over my septic tank, or I'm putting this, I'm adding an in-law suite or something. And if it's over it, then it's over it and it's on me. And it takes us out of, we're out of it.
Weren't presented this option where like, just like, you have to get the system check. We weren't able to like offer you to sign this affidavit.
What, since October?
Pretty sure,
Mhm.
well, maybe it was before. I
Yeah.
have to look, but it might have been right around like the time before you got it.
Yeah. So the affidavit is actually part of the building process or the building permitting process. And that affidavit will not be connected to a septic case. It will be connected to the building case. We have not had a lot of affidavits, mainly because the builders, what did I call it? It was the board for permits and inspections. The Builders Association, they were the ones who came up with the affidavit, and we didn't get it until the middle of October versus the 1st of October when the rule went into effect, or when the statute came into effect. But anyway, so know that that's an option. I would still highly advise clients against doing that, because I have seen people pour concrete over their systems, and then the systems fail. And the last thing you want is like paying to get an existing systems check is a whole lot cheaper than building over part of your system and destroying your system and having sewage back up on your land, or worse, in your home, or going into a creek or stream. So this is something that's new. Septic repairs. I gotta put a little spiel out there. We do have a failing septic system repair fund in the county. This is the second year the commissioners have given us funding of $75,000 to help people who may not have the financial resources to install or to repair a failing septic system. But I wanted to talk, so just know that if you all have people that you think might qualify, send them my way. We are having a very difficult time this year getting applications, but we think it's linked to drought, right? I mean, it's a good thing that, people aren't like lining up trying to get money. It's a good thing that the systems are not actively failing now. So I'm grateful for that. Like, it's like a double-edged sword. Because if we don't spend the money, we are likely going to not get it again for years to come, and there is a tremendous need. I mentioned Virginia earlier. The state of Virginia actually has $11 million in their coffers to help people repair failing septic systems. In North Carolina, I'm part of a work group that is trying to figure out how do we as a state tap into those federal funds the way that Virginia has, so that everyone who has to have a septic system repaired can get it repaired. I don't know how long this is a journey. It might take another 19 years. I don't know. But for the most part, federal money in our state goes to repairing sewage districts or public sewer, municipal sewer options, for example. And not much thought is given to the private homeowner. So right now, let's imagine we're all on the septic system. Let's say your system is failing. It is backing up in your bathtub. We're gonna make it real bad. You can't even flush without it coming up in your bathtub. All right, so that's your visual right after lunch. I'm good like that. I give y'all good things after lunch. So that's your visual. And you have us come out and we look at your site and we say, okay, this is gonna require a drip irrigation system. Yep, you said, ooh. Oh, it's super expensive. So just for the sake of arguing, let's say it's 50,000. It shouldn't be 50,000, but let's just say it's 50,000. How many of you right now could, I'm not asking, this is rhetorical. Think about it. Can you put your hands on $50,000? Whether it's in your savings account, checking account, a CD, a loan, however you have to get it. How easy would it be for you to access that? So let's pretend nobody in this room can access it, right? I mean, I know you all can, right? But let's pretend that we can't. So what's that mean for my family? That means I'm going months or however long until I can get that $50,000. Now, did you know that in the United States, having clean, quality drinking water and access to sanitation, like to septic systems, is not a right? Oh, right, that blew my mind. I was doing some research. The World Health Organization has deemed sanitation and water quality as a right of every individual. The United States did not join in on that. They actually voted against it. They didn't vote in favor of it. I won't say they voted against it, but they didn't vote in favor of it. And I'm like, oh, that is doesn't that boggle the mind? And so the other thing I want to challenge you to think about when we talk about repairs is for our programming, think about what your annual income is. All again, keep it in your head, right? Keep it in your head. Think about what your income is, your income is. What happens to your quality of life, your health, if you have that $50,000 burden of installing a drip irrigation system because your system has failed, and you make too much money to qualify for a program. And we live in the mountains and we know that MSD can't get to some of our houses. It won't get to some of our houses, right? Just because of our topography. So it's a real issue. And I think my new fight is going to be, with regards to our septic repair program, is raising the income limit. Because the repairs can cost so much that I don't think it should be some type of ratio of your income versus the cost of the repair. Because otherwise, if you look at our county, how many houses are owned by low income folks who are at that 80% area medium income, probably not a whole lot. So that's another reason our applications could be slow coming in. You could just be over that threshold and not meet the cutoff. So anyway, that's my soapbox. Starting in January though, when a septic system repair is needed, like if it's a full system repair, you are getting new drain lines, you need all new drain lines. Let's say you need a new tank too. Whatever permit, whatever repair was designated on that operations permit, that is the system that will have to be installed on your property. if it was designated. Now, how many of y'all on a septic system right now know what type of repair you would need? Or your clients, if they bought a property with the septic system already, are you going over that operations permit? That might be a good idea one day to go over the operations permit and talk about each part on that, just to, so you'll know. So you'll be educated just in case they have questions. I mean, y'all can always call us, but anyway, I saw a hand. No, okay, all right. Sure.
So how do we find the operation permit for my clients to check it, like what type of system they have?
Yeah, so that would be that long drawn out process I shared. And if you weren't here for that, I'm happy to, I can give you the, I can send out the step-by-step guidance on how to do it. And I'm happy to set something up with you one-on-one if you want to. Yes.
Is there a place we can send people, maybe just people don't know about the money that's available for the repairs, if they, is there a website that y'all have that you know that we can send people to?
So you can go to buncombecounty.org/EH. You should be able to see it there.
Okay.
Any other questions about repairs? So I know a lot of your clients get point of sale inspections. And I know there's been a point of contention. Oh, I see the smile, so I know I touched somebody when I said that. I know it's been a point of contention. You'll get your point of sale inspection and someone will run a camera or dig up a portion of the septic system and say, hey, this is damaged. Damage does not equal failing. It has to be failing in one of these three areas. It either has to be, sewage has to be surfacing, has to be coming up in your home, or going straight to surface water body. That is what we consider failing. So it would not be a repair permit that your clients are going to request if they have a crack in the lid of a septic tank, for example. What they would apply for is a revision just to replace the tank, and we can do that.
That still has to get permitted for revision.
Yes, if you're going to replace the tank, yes.
What about repairs to the lines?
Yes, repairs to the line, same thing. Yep. But it's only failing if it's surfacing or coming up into the house, or if it's going into a surface water body. Yeah.
If the system is failing, why would you put the same thing on according to operation permit?
No, it's not the same thing. So that's a great question. I'm glad you asked it. Thank you. The operations permit shows what is actually currently in the ground, what type of system went in, whether it's a pump or gravity, large diameter pipe. That's what's currently in. It will also show the future repair area. That's what I see a lot on our permits. It's future repair area. And sometimes it will say future repair area will have to be a pump or gravity fed, or I have seen it say drip irrigation, which is scary. You think about it, when properties change hands, even when people walk out with their OP, their operations permit, they don't really know what that means or don't understand the connection between what that says and the dollar amount. So I know. Am I depressing y'all? I think I am.
Sorry if I missed this.
Yeah.
How long have they been putting the type of repair on the LP?
It varies. Some people say future repair and just leave it as future repair. Some people get very descriptive. A lot of times if it is a tight lot or a tight soil calls, like difficult soil call, and let's say we called in our regional, we will get all the way down and tell you exactly what type of system has to go.
It's hit or miss.
Hit or miss. Mm-hmm. Yep.
If the OP doesn't have the repair specs on it, then.
Great question. Then the inspector can then use what is called best professional judgment, which from now until December 31st, 2023, our staff are allowed to use best professional judgment. Starting in January there are only certain instances where they can use what we call BPJ, and that's one of them. Yep. Mhm. Any other questions? Okay, so remember the pizzazz I told y'all about. Well, here it comes. Perfect timing. So we are going to an electronic process. And we've ordered GPS units for all of our staff. Our staff have taken a field trip to another county who's already doing this. They go out in the on site, and they are able to, for instance, walk the perimeter of a house if it's already there, or use the GPS and take their coordinates. They can upload those coordinates directly into a program, and it will be nice and pretty and neat and for all the world to see and understand. And hold on, here's the pizzazz. Y'all ready? All right, the pizzazz part is this is going to be connected to our GIS. I know, see? I told y'all it was good. So that means once we get it up and running, from that point forward, and we can go back, we'll have to go back and backfill pins with septic records. But from that point forward, you will be able to go into a pin, and if an operations permit has been issued, click on it and it'll pull it up right there on GIS. That's amazing. That's amazing. And so if you want to see this in action, Halfway Moore County has this available. Well, they have their permits available. Their septic permits available connected to their GIS. Cabarrus County is the county that we traveled to see it actually in action. So you can look on their website at their GIS and see how we will look next year this time. Definitely the GPS units have been ordered. We have all of the technology, the computers, the tablets, we have all of that. We just have to get the GPS units in and train our staff. So I told y'all it was pizzazz. That was worth all the $50,000, right? Yeah.
So just to clarify, so that means any new permits that are issued, anything that you happen to have the records on.
Mhm.
So there's gonna be a lot of houses that are on septic that you have no history of records.
Right.
And nothing that you hire a soil scientist to do that you're not issuing a permit.
Well, I think we could also get them to upload the EOP, AOWE, all those authorizations to operate. They could also be on there. But our goal is to start with our stuff.
The newer.
Yeah, the new section. Yeah.
What is the process for those houses that have no records?
So are you asking to see how many bedrooms they have, or how do you know the list? Is that where you're going with the question?
Yeah.
Or, okay. All right, so if you just want to know how to list, I'll go that route first. If you only want to know how to list, we've been told by the state section of environmental health that if we cannot locate a permit, we can, you send me an email, Jessica, I have looked up PIN number, blah, 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 or address number, blah, 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 blah. Whenever y'all send me that, and you say you can't find it, just know, even if you didn't ask me to look for it, I'm gonna look for it anyway, because I don't wanna sign my name to something. Because my next email to you, if I can't find it, is going to be, hey, I've searched the information below and I'm unable to locate a septic record for this property. Please use the number of bedrooms identified on the tax property card. That's that part. Now, as far as the homeowner is concerned, because I would want to know where my septic system is. They can hire either a plumber or a contractor to come out and locate the property. The septic system, but that still won't tell them, like, well, a plumber or a contractor can also put a well in, put a camera into the system to try to figure out the integrity of the system. how well it's been maintained, any types of revisions that need to be made. I gave the example earlier of a cracked septic tank lid, or they can see roots in a drain field. Honestly, if I saw roots in mine, I would leave it alone because if it's not failing, but that's just me. That's just me. I'm not looking for it. But yeah, so that would be the option for the homeowner. But with us, we cannot go out and recreate a record. So we couldn't take whatever report you get from a septic contractor or a plumber and put that on a permit. We're not allowed to do that because we didn't actually see it go in. Yeah.
In the future, when you uploading each plan with their permits, will revision permits also be included in the applicable link there too?
If it actually went in the ground, yes. Mhm. Yeah. Any other questions? Yes.
Is there a minimum lot size for a septic tank?
No. Great question. Not a minimum lot size out here. That was one of the things that surprised me. My former county I worked in, we had a minimum lot size. And when I came here, I was just amazed at the number of houses that are like right on the road, like with no driveway. Like, I can't imagine that. But anyway, I'm a scary driver anyway. So, but yeah, to see the tiny lots that we have here, it's pretty interesting. As a side note, one thing that I would always suggest, if you're working with clients who are going to subdivide a property, tell them, and you know they're on the septic system, tell them to make sure they are not cutting off any part of their septic system with that when they are getting their new property lines drawn. Also, if they are purchasing a property that is on MSD and their their supply line from MSD to their house, which is their private line, goes across a neighboring property, make sure they have an easement. I'm sure I'm preaching to the choir. I'm sure, but y'all would be amazed. We had someone pissed off. He had bought a property and he did not like the idea that his neighbor's private line was going from MSD to the neighbor's house through his property. Guess what he did?
Oh, no.
It wasn't failing.
Oh, yeah.
He cut it off and capped his side and left the neighbor's side wide open.
Wow.
I know, like, that's just, we gotta be nice. We gotta be kind to people, practice kindness. Yes.
If you move from an existing system to a repair, are you allowed to use the old land for
You mean-
addition or driveway or, or are there environmental concerns with that whole space?
So short answer is no. Yes, you can use it. Let me go there. I said short answer is no. Yes, you can use it, but you would have to crush and fill and crush the old septic tank. And once that's done, you would be good to go. But sometimes I have seen where repairs go in and they'll put an alternating valve from one drain field to the repair, like the repairs drain field to the initial systems drain field. And they do that to ease the burden off of the repair area. So you just need to understand if the drain fields need to be able to talk to each other. So the other thing we're working on, just so y'all know, FYI, good old Meg Nichols here is interning with our office, and she has a project that she just identified yesterday. And so she's going to be working on creating a transition plan for our on-site wastewater section and our food and lodging section, and possibly even our front office. It just depends on where time goes. But the reason for that, in the on-site section, we now have 11 total staff members, and of the 11, 4 people can retire at any moment. In the last 2 years, we've had 3 retirements in on-site. We've learned a lot from those retirements. These are employees that have been with the county for 20+ years. And we learned a lot when they left. So that's one of the things Meg is going to be working on. How do we do this a little bit differently and working on developing a timeline for us to think about those retirements and to make sure that our services remain consistent. And we're ready to train new folks when they come in. So those are the new things, exciting things. Do you all have other questions for me?
The permit for like a new construction for the septic, is that gonna be a separate permit and permit number, or is it gonna be tied to the home permit?
You mean the building permit?
Yeah,
Yeah, the septic system permits are a different case type from the building. Yeah. Mhm.
okay, but they're not gonna be linked somehow so that if somebody pulls up that house that's constructed, they're also, well, here's the septic permit.
So yeah, you can do that now on our website. You just have to select permits and inspections. I think that's how it's listed. Like you can select environmental health to see all septic or environmental health associated documents, and you can select planning and zoning, permits and inspections, stormwater. Like you have an array of options. Yes.
Is there such a thing as a one-bedroom septic?
No. No, absolutely, absolutely not. The smallest that we can permit is a 2-bedroom system, so that's a 240 gallons per day system. Yeah. Good question.
Is that one of the changes that's coming next year?
So let me see what we would have. I can tell you real quick.
Your on-site people told me that change is coming, because I have it at my house.
It likely. I will tell you in just a second.
A lot of small,
Huh?
that's a lot of small print.
A lot of small print, right? Okay. All right, so starting January 1st, 2024, the minimum is gonna be 175 gallons per day for a 1-bedroom dwelling unit with no more than 2 occupants and 400 square feet of living space or less. Okay, so it's all of it. So our applications are going to have to change because we don't always collect square footage information right now. We just go off the number of bedrooms, but if you want a 1-bedroom, then we would have to have a square footage. Or we would do 120 gallons per day per bedroom. That I was just saying, for 240. Yeah, questions?
Really awesome electronic records part.
Yes, I'm excited.
OP's going in. Are IPs going in at all, or those?
So I'm on the fence about IPs. He asked, it's a great question. Would improvement permits also be included on the GIS? And I'm gonna tell you why I'm on the fence. Let's say you bought a property that was approved for a 3-bedroom, that had a 3-bedroom IP on it. You didn't apply for the IP, somebody else had gotten it, right? Well, this is real world. This is actually what happened in our office. Someone did that. The property was approved, IP was issued for a 3-bedroom system. Well, what they wanted to do to the lot was completely different than what the applicant who applied for the IP had requested. But the person bought the lot under the pretense that he would be able to do whatever he wanted because it had passed for a 3-bedroom IP. Well, we ended up getting sued because he said we never should have permitted the 3-bedroom the way that we permitted it because he couldn't get what he wanted on his property. And we fought as much as we could. When counties are quote unquote sued, I don't want y'all to think we went to court or anything. The AG's office, it's the Attorney General's office of the state actually steps in and represents us as a county, even though we have county attorneys because we're environmental health and we get our authority from the state, we are represented by the AG's office. So the AG said, yeah, we would likely win, but if we lose, we're gonna end up paying a whole lot more. So the county kicks in half of what we agreed to settle the case, and the state picks up the other half. It was bad. I was not happy because that's just not fair. To me, the person didn't do the due diligence, but the AG's office stance was, well, if we take it to court, we could end up losing the judge. We might not get a judge who is favorable towards environmental health. And so we didn't want to take it. It was cheaper for us to settle. So with that in mind, I'm not really inclined to want to put IPs there, because even with the disclaimer of this IP is only valid for this specific site plan, I don't know that the AG's office would support us in trying to fight that. And I wouldn't want to, I don't like rules. No, nobody like rules. Last thing I want to do is settle, especially when somebody had been rude to staff.
But we can still find those in other ways.
Yes. You can still find them.
Yeah, also, we can still just go look about the otherwise, but just.
Mhm, yeah. I think OPs, because people probably aren't gonna ask so many questions on the GIS, anyway. Any other questions? Thank y'all. I think I went over. I probably did. Thank y'all.